Alright, Mopar people, welcome back to the channel. I'm JustMoparJoe. So today, I've got the old 408 that's out of my black truck here. I was going to tell you a little bit about this engine. I mentioned it in the past. It's a scat rotating assembly. It's got the Indy X RHS heads. So I guess racing head service. It takes the shaft mount rockers. I'll show you that in a second. I've kind of learned a lot with this motor. I was going to share some of those lessons with you. First thing you may notice, I bought the pretty chrome goofy thermostat housing. If you've got one of those, throw it away. Get you a better one. I've had 10 gaskets on here. I've ran this sucker on a belt sander. I've planed the intake with a DA sander. I've tried 80, I've tried 180, tried resealing it, tried just RTV, I've tried a gasket and RTV. Throw it away. You can see my smear here in the back. It looks like a hacky work. I had it sealed just fine. I got it to the racetrack and made a pass, came back and noticed it had filled up the valley of that RPM air gap. So again, throw that away if you got one. They're junk. Something else, you'll notice my head porting. Let me get it turned around here for you real quick. So remember, this was in my black truck. I poured these heads about 10 or 12 years ago, and I was doing just like the internet said too. And I was just opening that dude up. I threw my gasket on there and opened that sucker up. Gasket matched the exhaust. That's wrong. Stupid. I really like watching Mr. David Vizard, some of his porting series now, and he explains it to you, and it makes perfect sense. At the time, I never even thought about it, but let me show you here. Alright, so here we go. You're not actually supposed to port down to the floor here, opening that up. And you can see, if I can make the light shine correctly, that cross section here and here, those widths are much less than this outside here. It doesn't do me any good to open this up really large, great big, when I've got a small section in here. So I haven't ported any at all inside. All I did was throw my gasket on, draw a line, try to cut it out as big as the gasket basically. I might have not went all the way out to the end, but that was before I knew better. So if you'll notice in the video, seeing that cut out great big like that, that was wrong on my account, and I'm sorry. But you live and you learn. That's what I'm trying. If I learn something, I'll try to pass it on to everyone else. Something else, and this is kind of, the internet disagrees with me on this. This is a one-piece gasket, like for a Magnum engine. You can see it's rubber here. That's a one-piece, and this is the original, I believe it's a 79 model oil pan. And the people online, everybody says you can't do that. Well, I did. I used RTV on both sides, like I always do. This one was last pulled off in the truck. I mean, yeah, I was laying under the truck. I can put a link to that video somewhere. And what I had did then was replace the oil pump, because I had ran an intermediate shaft that must have been weak or something. It was not a hardened shaft. This is just a hydraulic flat tappet cam. And that shaft broke off on the end. So I had to pull the oil pump, get that out of there to get the other piece of the shaft out. And the oil pump itself, it was actually locked up. So I believe that's what did my shaft in, was whenever that locked up. Something else I learned on this. So on these heads, I bought these heads online. I don't remember who it was, what it was. There's a part number, if you can see that. There we go. Bought these from a machine shop online I've never heard of. They assembled them. It seemed to be a pretty good deal at the time. I think I got the pair for 800 bucks, 850 shipped. They put valves, did everything else. As soon as we ran the engine, the valve stem itself seized up inside of the guide. So they had not clearanced that. They just popped them together, didn't check that at all, and it had hung a valve open. It did not hit the piston. The pistons have some reliefs, but it had hung to a point of it was making terrible noise whenever one of the valves stuck open. So had to pull that head off, take it to my machine shop. He checked all those, said, yeah, these are super tight. So he I guess honed those, put it back together, didn't have an issue. The other head did the same thing within, 10 miles of driving it. So there's another lesson I learned the hard way with this dude. But you live and you learn. So my plan with this now, I'm going to go ahead and pull these heads off, take them back to the machine shop, get them checked out. I'd like to do a valve job. This is just the plain Jane, whatever 2-angle or whatever they would do, just, cheapest valve job they can get me. That's what it has now. I'd like, if I could get a competition job, get my valves ground, I would be into that. And also I'd like to do some port work on this. But beyond that, I got to get new springs for my new Isky cam, which is a solid flat tappet. But yeah, so today I'm going to pop these heads and intake off real quick. We can take a look over them, and I'll kind of explain my process in doing that. I'm going to leave the bottom end together for now. I'll do a separate video where I roll it over and pull those bearings and all that jazz. So y'all hang out, maybe we'll get something.